I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. Relax your mind and let it unwind. No time for fight. Just open your eyes to see the light. Don't hesitate now. There's too much in front of you to take a hit now. Prepare for the worst, but prepare for the best. Cause only your mind holds the curse that you partner with it. I ain't tryna stop you from the love that guides you. I just wanna be the one to try you, mold you, make sure that you're on a good road. Little did you know, I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. Ooh. This is the love and the flow that I live by. Just realize what it is and pass it by. So don't be shy to get high. Got this green for the goodbye. Don't hold back on this and fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, fly, fly. Got a pack in the back and a seat on my left. What you wanna do, baby? You the best. Coming from the east, not the west. Southside got it written on my chest.
Good afternoon, everybody.
I just wanna
Let me. I like this song, so I'm gonna let it ride out until the end of it. But greetings. This is the Black Afternoon Conversation. All right. Let's get this party started. So if you didn't know, this is the Black Afternoon Conversation. Salute to all those who showed up. We are having a very, very, very interesting conversation to discuss O'Shea Duke Jackson. If you didn't know this guy, he is one of the California's finest. He's currently in Uganda. He has a number of networks. He has a video called African Immigrants Have No Respect for African Americans. Great conversation over there. And we're going to do kind of like a afternoon reaction to it. If you'd like to join the conversation, please make sure you hit the button, hit the link. It's right there pinned to the top of the chat. You don't have to cam up, but just some house cleaning. If you did want to have some input on the show topics, or if you would like to have some of the topics sent to you directly, I do have a distribution list. This is a way that you can get yourself on an exclusive list to where you can get all the topics and everything, you know. So if you'd like to, please click that link, fill out your email. I will send you the link directly for sometimes some closed panels or just to know what eBlack is up to. But either way, we're going to have some fun with this. Um, what's going on to everybody that's in the chat? Salute to all the, of course, the Black Pride members that are in the building. Of course, when I start the stream, my DoorDash comes. So we're going to just let this play for a little bit and then I'll come back. But let me know if you guys can hear the audio because I tend to always mess stuff up. So let's go.
I lived in Poland where you ain't got no help. It's a different mentality because you gotta produce, you gotta do something. And when I'm here in Uganda, like, I'm not going to bed till like 6 or 7 in the morning almost every day. I'm working like every day of the month. I've taken like one day off in the last 5 months. I have to. I wouldn't be this way in the United States.
Why Black immigrants have no respect for America. Hi guys, welcome to Kenganda. My name is Janita Mai and this is the Repat Podcast.
Hey, hey, Maintain.
Guys, the energy, what is happening?
So Maintain, DJ and producer, proud Caribbean, living in Kampala now for 5 years. What's up?
O'Shea Duke Jackson, California, Sacramento to be exact, African American. Let's get into it.
Yep.
Okay, watch this clip with us and react to it with us.
The generations that were born within the last 50 to 60 years never really been through anything but the most coddled generation. And I can see why women don't respect men in America. I can see why everybody is sitting there asking Biden in order to forgive their student loans. I can see why Americans is weak. Nigerians, Jamaicans, any.
Oh man. I actually skipped past this part of the video, so I can see the gaslighting right here by Anton. Salute to Anton Daniels. He has a great personality in terms of presenting a point. Yeah, but this is gaslighting to this fullest, you know. But we'll get into the video. I actually did not see this part. I skipped straight to the intro. I skipped past the intro and missed this part of the video. All right, let's go.
Any kind of immigrant come over here in this country and mop the floor with Americans, but specifically, let's just talk about Black people because I noticed this thing. You know, Black people don't really unite until they can find a European enemy. Black immigrants don't respect people that are traditionally born in America, especially Black people who are born in America. They work relentlessly, eat, sleep, grind, hustle, and go and get it. So when they finally get over into America and they see the opportunities that's presented to them over there, it ain't nothing that Americans can do. You trying to figure out how to work 40 hours and then go to sleep, and you can't even wake up in order to get to your job that you work from home for. You can't even make the meeting on time.
Okay, guys. What do you think?
Interesting take.
Yeah, do you actually agree with what he's saying?
Wow. All I can say is wow. I don't know. We'll get into it. I've seen a couple of minutes of this, so I think they're going to kind of cover the mindset that comes with this type of topic.
Who's going to start it off?
I feel like O'Shea should start it off.
Y'all don't mean in the
Set the
well, okay, number one,
standards.
shout out to brother Anton Daniels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big up Anton.
He's a successful YouTuber, and of course, I saw that clip, but obviously, I wanted to get the YouTube short.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big conversation going on. Not only in America, I think most any of the Western developed nations. You know, the England will be very similar.
Oh yeah, very similar.
Especially so like London, just a lot of immigrants coming over, and those people who have lived there all their lives are getting, you know, they're feeling the pressure from these people who are more hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let me just say this: I was in Johannesburg in 2020, and what I've noticed was there are a group of the Zimbabweans are the people coming in.
Okay.
And so the people, I was at this restaurant and the owner was saying, or the manager was saying, you know, South Africans don't want to work. Mm-hmm. Zimbabweans are the people that want to work. And so I can see what he's saying, that Americans or Black Americans are being, you know, they're not working as hard as these people that have a different circumstance. But I can easily reverse that. Me coming here, You know, I'm the average person here. No offense, I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I remember actually moving from California to Texas. When I moved to Texas, man, it opened up a whole world to me. It really did. So it's one of those things where you when you move to a different place, you almost get a sense of urgency, and you get to see the landscape a little different than the locals at there. You know, I moved actually to a smaller town that I'm in now. So you know, I've never got to the I understood why it happens, but all the time it's I think we can't overstate how much a new place can change your motives. So he's gonna go into that, I think.
If you're not serious, you're not gonna pretty much outwork me. That's just because I know I gotta. I know that I'm not for where I'm from. I gotta get it in here. Ain't nobody gonna help me. Anybody gonna save me. So when you're like that, when your life is on, I lived in Poland, where you know you ain't got no help. It's a different mentality because you gotta produce. You gotta do something. And when I'm here in Uganda, like I'm not going to bed till like 6 or 7 in the morning almost every day. I'm working like every day of the month. I've taken like one day off in the last 500 days, but I know that I have to do it. I probably wouldn't be this way in the United States. I might not be that same. I want to have that same vigor, you know? So I think it's relative to, you know, if you had a bunch of Americans coming over here and they had to get it, they would also go to that next level. But, you know, I think that, you know, again, anybody that's coming to a new place and they have to survive and they want to stay there, they're going to put in the effort. That's kind of what I feel. I don't think it's because these Nigerians or these immigrants are much better than that. Because if I was to go to where they're at, yeah, I'm going to also do very well if I'm a top performer. Top performers perform very well anywhere in the world. These people that are coming over to America, they're not dumb. You know, they're not. They wouldn't be there if they were not a performer. The average guy who's an idiot just can't just go to any country and start doing well. He was already doing well wherever he was at. So I just think it's relative to the person in that circumstance.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. You know, when you migrate, people who are motivated to better themselves, they're going to get those results. And a lot of people don't understand the immigration thing. Not everybody can migrate. You know, usually you have to have people already there. And I'm talking about legalized migration, but usually you have to have people there who are established, who are willing to vouch for you, saying, okay, you're going to be doing this amount of jobs. What have you been doing in your country? Naming off skills. In fact, when I was looking through the comments, you know, what they say is that the people that migrate aren't usually the poor people or the poorest of the poor. They're usually people of middle to higher income that have schools, have trade skills. So it's one of those things that it, it's one of those things. Like I said, sometimes we get caught up in the the distraction of saying migration is bad, whereas good migration is actually great and it's been since the beginning of time. Skills being passed through migration has always been a plus to any country. In fact, poor or rich. So, you know, let's see what y'all got in the comments. It says the average person, people who move for perspective and migrate are not average. They leave exponential regular folk behind. That's exactly what happened. So that's not true. Americans are lazy by design. Yeah, I agree. I think we as Americans, we do definitely have a sense of entitlement. And they're going to kind of go into that, but we always want to be the first in line. You know, basically because we're here and we always say the tax dollars pay for it. So I think there is a level of entitlement that comes with it. Don't farm rage. Let them say what they say. They are just trying to get us distracted again. Exactly. Why is which is why America immigrates in waves. Migrants assimilate and pick up the same behavior. I tell people this all the time. If you've ever been to California, a lot of people talk about, Asian people and their Asian wealth and their elitism. I tell them, look, that's good and all, maybe the first generation, but y'all should see some of these second wave, third wave generation Asian folks. Man, these guys, they once they start picking up American traditions and behaviors and attitude, they in the same boat as everybody else. They be fucking up too. And it's something about the American system that breeds laziness and docile and even self-hate in many of factors. So salute to just Andrea. Americans are not lazy. Other countries are underpaid as a matter of their policy. That's debatable. That's debatable. That's debatable. Living in Europe humbled the hell out of me. Yes. I lived in Cali 13 years, 12 in San Diego, 1 in LA, born and raised in NYC. Yeah. So yeah, you definitely, like, you can probably go to a town like a smaller town, and you can probably excel at the town because you're the one thing. Like like I said, when I first moved to Texas, I used to tell people all the time. We used to have this thing where in California, you ask what you do. Hey, I work at a call center. I work at a call center. And then you would say, okay, yeah, but I do hair on the side, or I rap on the side. I do poetry. I sell incense. I have this mixed CD that I have. I also go to school. Like, you'll list off a litany of things and skills and ability. That is a California trait. It's so expensive out there that your job that you have is not really who you are. It's just something that you're doing to get by, but you're also doing other things. Move to Texas. A lot of people I would just say in the parts of Texas that I've experienced are one dimensional. They're, hey, I work at this job, and very few they'll have any other passion or skill beyond that. And that's a huge stereotype that I can admit that, but like I said, you'll rarely hear the conversation with somebody from Texas like, well, I work at a bank, and that's their identity. And I think we're getting a lot of that from, like I said, just the natural environment that, like I said, a California or a New Yorker may have, is that you have to go further. Shot you in the back. Could you just give me 2 fingers just to make sure I know it's you? And then because like I said, you don't have to cam up. Just make sure that you're not a bot. But Shot, can you here? Hold on 1 sec. Let me see. Hello?
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm at my desk right now, so I don't have a camera running, but I'm not a troll or anything.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah,
fine. That's fine.
yeah.
All right. But yeah, what you got to say on the conversation?
All right, so my point is that what I said about the underpaidness, that's actually true, right? There's a great book by Michael Pettis and Matthew Klein. It's called Trade Wars or Class Wars. Everybody should read it, especially if you're Black, because it really details how the export-driven economies around the world systematically underpay their workers in order to take advantage of the neoliberal trade system, right? Like Germany in particular, Japan, South Korea, China in particular. And then conversely, the excess savings they have from underpaying their workers flood into the US capital markets. And that's really the mechanic that the Trump rake, Trump tapped into very real feelings, right? About trade policies and everything else. He tapped into a real sentiment, but his people like Robert Lighthizer and whatnot, they didn't understand the mechanics really. But that book details the mechanics, and it heavily affects Black Americans.
Yeah, and that's even true because, the reason why Ford and a lot of these companies are building their plants in Mexico is because they can pay them less, of course. They don't also have union rights. They also don't have the overhead of being taxed for raw materials. They also get a tax deduction for importing certain types of products from a developing nation. You're absolutely right. The neoliberal and what
The,
I call the European capitalistic system designed it so
it
that
wasn't European though. It's distinctly American because we did things very differently from how any European power would have did it. And the situation with Mexico is very different now because Mexico is not really cheap labor, it's highly productive labor. And our recent trade deals with Mexico and Canada that Trump signed, but it was negotiated for 10 years. Trade deals take forever to negotiate, right? It take decades. Very different scenario than what it was like, say, in the early 90s with GATT and NAFTA. But in particular, China, Germany, the Asian tigers are the ones that really do it because it's a two-way street. The underpaid workers, right, give the businesses savings. I mean the economic identity version of savings, not the commonplace uses of it, right? Talking about the real economic term. And that, see, if we did not allow that money into the US capital markets, Americans would have got better yield on their savings accounts for decades, right? They were basically siphoning off our yields, and it would have forced those other countries to raise their wages, and therefore their aggregate demand would go up, and they'd buy more U.S. products. See, this is the dirty secret. People think the dollar as the reserve currency is a privilege for us, and it is in some ways, but it's a tremendous economic burden for the country, right? Because they use the dollar without having to buy American goods. So the aggregate demand is down. Now, normally that would siphon away profits and yield over there, but what they can do is send that excess money to US capital markets, which is why almost all the investment banks have branches in both sides of the Atlantic.
yeah, and I look, I totally get that, and that's why I say it's bigger than. And when I talk about European imperialism, this has been started from a long time ago. You look at how much the British bank holds in terms of economic overall. A lot of countries, like a lot of African countries, hold their funds over in Britain. But then say the Ugandan dollar or say an African dollar goes below, say, the 1-for-1 trade-off, right? Well, Uganda then has to pay interest to the UK. So when I talk about European system, this is a multi-pronged system that is, we could talk about proxy wars, we could talk about proxy trade, we
The
could
worst
talk.
version the worst version of that system is actually in Europe. See, it's okay to, with the reserves in the Bank of England or the reserves at the Fed. The trick that a lot of African countries get involved with, and even Latin America, is if the debt is denominated in a foreign currency, you're in trouble, right? That's the big mechanic. As long as it's denominated in your own sovereign currency, you're okay. You just inflate away the debt, whatever, you'll be fine. Your creditor's in trouble. But look at Europe. This is the biggest reason why you had the problem with Greece, Italy, Ireland, right? The pigs in 2008 to 2012, right? Giannis Varoufakis and so on, because the Eurozone has a unified currency, right? The Shenzhen zone with the euro, but they
Yes.
don't have a unified fiscal policy like the US does. So Germany basically has a bit of a stranglehold on the European countries that are involved in the euro. That's why countries like Denmark and others are part of the EU, but they refuse to be part of the euro because they knew what was up with that. So
Yeah.
Europe at some point is going to have some kind of reckoning with the euro.
And what do you, okay, so, and not to take this too far, but because like the guy said here, free market capitalism and capitalism, that's the difference. Great call. He's giving you props. You are a great caller, matter of fact. I appreciate you showing up. But what do you think about this whole idea of African immigrants have no respect for African Americans? So
I
far,
live here. I
based
mean,
on
I'm as ADOS as it gets, right? I own land my ancestors used to be slaves on, right? So I can take it all the way back to the Revolutionary War. right? I'm as ADOS as it gets. I've also had a very international focus with my careers and interests after school. I've heard all the bad phrases, bad terms that some immigrants say about Black Americans. I've also seen Black Americans be nasty to that. That interpersonal stuff is going to be how you're raised, your environment. If you got picked on as a kid, you grow up with the grudge, right? Just like with a lot of guys are upset with, say, Black women because Black women didn't like them, so they go out and it becomes a revenge fantasy for them. But I think right now Black America has an opportunity that other groups don't have, because Africa is starting to turn around, especially at the small scale. Because I've been watching Ugandan, Liberian, Nigerian farmers, small scale farmers, piggery, some cows, using black soldier flies and all that. And there's been some cultural exchange going on with Black Americans here. Like, I'm in North Carolina right now, the Carolinas, up and down the coast. I think we have an opportunity right now to form tight relations with the sensible people in Africa. Ignore the ones that come here and want to jump on the white supremacist bandwagon and attack us to bring themselves up. They're there, but why bother worrying about that when we can get money with the ones who are trying to be like, I'm not a Pan-Africanist or anything like that. I'm an American capitalist, right, to the core. I don't see any real point on continuing to beat this dead horse. We know some people in any group don't like us, and we can imagine a myriad of reasons why. Does it really matter? I want to get money. I want to establish a trade empire back and forth between, American Black hubs and African new burgeoning hubs, and that's a cross-cultural exchange and a
A
trade
lot like
exchange.
a
Go ahead,
lot
son.
like the Russians are doing now in, say, transport.
Yeah, like look at Phuket, right? Phuket, look at Indonesia, like Bali. A lot of those Russians have a new Russian diaspora just got started. And it kind of looks like how the Chinese did it, or how the Lebanese did it, or the Moroccan.
I actually have a friend, a close friend to the family. He's actually going to gosh, he said, I don't know if it was Ghana or it was Liberia, not Liberia, Libya. Um, it was off the west coast of Africa, but
Yeah.
he's going out there and he owns some trucks out here, and he's going to go out there and start getting into fuel trucking. He says,
Bulk field.
shoot.
Yep.
He says, "Shoot, that money is too good. You get one of them little German trucks or one of them, them truck trailers and whatnot, because they're cheaper to own, and all you got to do is operate them, run them up and down the highway, and because like what he's saying is that Africa needs infrastructure, the influx of capital, much like any other civilized society. They need the trucks, they need the cement. It's kind of hard to stop.
CapEx. Capex.
You need capex. So it's kind of hard to just say, well, why don't they just build the road? Well, you need capital to do that without plunging
I
your
saw it.
society.
I know in Liberia, I forget which province it was. I forget how they break it down, but a senator was getting a lot of credit because they paved like 5 miles of road, and that was like a major event. And you can see how undercapitalized Africa is. Now, here's what I think we can maneuver. Do you know what equity crowdfunding is? It was put in place by Obama when he signed the Jobs Act, Regulation CF and Regulation A+.
I
Have you
will
talked
put
to
a
anybody about
note.
that before?
I will put a note
Yeah.
into the.
So when I show up on
conversation.
every panel, I talk about it, and it annoys people, but I want to hammer it. So one of Obama's best things, I'm not a huge fan of the guy, but he did get this through, is that now average people can raise money like venture capital can without having to go through the whole accredited investor process, up to I think 1.5 and then 5 mil. So what we can do is, because big investment banks, the stuff in Liberia, for example, is too small for them to get involved, right? Big banks, usually big business, how it works. Small banks, small business, right? Venture, investment, even normal S&L. But let's say if you max out that 1.5, like you can raise the money on YouTube and send people to Reg CF portals like Start Engine. Star Engine is the biggest one. There's like 20 of them right now, right? You have to go through those portals. They do the paperwork so that the SEC gives you the green light to do it. That's kind of the downside, but it's actually a good thing. But you can actually raise money the way Silicon Valley does as venture capital. And instead of doing like a Kickstarter or doing a loan, do it through equity. It's a huge new frontier. Black Americans need to jump on it now, right? It's for whatever reason, God is blessing us or whatever creature does any of that stuff. They're giving us an opportunity. And I think using it to raise money here to do CapEx in Africa and then have that back and forth is a tremendous opportunity for us. We can do with Africa what the Asian tigers did to America, where we invest and the income streams come back to the US. But we can raise the money here via Reg CF and equity crowdfunding to do capital investments in Africa if you want or whatever.
And the beautiful part about that is, like I said, my friend out in his plans in Africa is like, man, you don't even have, you can run it just like any other business that you would run cross country, just have some trustworthy people. But he said, man, look, it's just so much money out there. You can the incitement on his face. Now he's not some old Pan-Africanist person either. He's just a regular guy, and he runs some trucks out here. But he's just like, man, he was just like, he kept on saying the money is, a lot of these countries are so thirsty for investment and just bodies that can be able to just contribute to it. So, I tell people all the time, sometimes we get on a high horse and we act like, Africa is like just the safari. I'm like, no. I've had people that I have some friends that live in Tanzania. I have some friends that live in Nigeria. Yeah, it ain't perfect, but man, I can show you some places out here in Louisiana and Texas that look.
Oh yeah,
I can't tell the difference. So
yeah, I know about. Yeah, like Dar es Salaam. That's the in Tanzania. I mean, look at the boom that's going on there. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
because that's why I think all the rage farming is there to purposefully distract us and get us to hate the very people that we could be having tremendous economic relationships with right now. Because I don't think
a lot of the blockers. Hold on 1 second. A lot of the blockers before were technology. A lot of the blockers were not being able to network. Now, with the emergence of the internet, you're able to now. You don't even have to have meetings. Like, you don't have to send a person halfway across the country. You can do a lot of the stuff on both ends and actually create a.
But I can tell you, you may want to go in person because I know some things about how corporate espionage is a real thing. I can't say much about it, but you may want to fly there and talk in person because people are listening. And one thing about what you just said too about technology that's kind of beautiful for Africa is that Africa skipped, say the previous 40 years of development. So they don't have a lot of the legacy infrastructure in the way, like the old school telephone lines, the old school cable and DSL lines. They just skip right to wireless and satellite. So you can almost do things easier in Africa because you don't have to worry about accidentally cutting up a telephone line or a buried cable, right? Because most of their stuff is wireless. They don't even have a lot of fiber.
They've even skipped us in terms of digital payments.
Yeah, they had to. They had no choice. Like in Somalia, yep. So a lot of that.
Quite literally, I had a friend go out there, and she was like, you use cash, but for the most part, she's like using her phone in the way that the banks are trying to get us to do it now. We're still resisting the digital currency kind of payment system, paying online. COVID really helped us kind of kick that up, but at the time, this was before COVID, and she was like, we were on our phones using it to pay everything. We'd exchange money on the phone. So I don't like. I tell people all the time, don't get too high on your high horse to thinking that you're in you're so far above the world. These people are catching up, and they don't have to do as much as we had to do in terms of America is creating an innovation. they can just skip it. You know?
Yeah, they don't have to maintain the legacy infrastructure.
Hmm.
They can skip right ahead to what's modern, what's current. They don't have to worry about, like you just said. And actually, there's a great book called The Corruption of Economics by Mason Gaffney, where he talks about how not only are Americans slow to adopt some of these things like digital currencies, but there's actually propaganda efforts to make sure we're slow to adopt.
Yeah, if AT&T said, you got to remember, if AT&T says, man, we're going to unhook every landline, do you think they're going to be happy about that? No, they need the landline. The cable companies need they don't want to go to a wireless system. So anyway, hey, let's get this video because I don't want to take all day. We 5 minutes in. You're welcome to stay and comment whenever you need to. I'm literally I'm eating food. This is a Black afternoon conversation. Anybody who wants to put their 2 cents in, it's open to. We're just like brothers sitting at the lunch table talking. All right.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ladies?
No, maintain. I
Oh,
was touching from that side. Please.
oh, really? Ah, really? Okay.
Yes.
I agree with O'Shea on this one. I think there's 2 sides to everything,
Mhm.
right? And when I first came to Uganda, I saw nothing but opportunity,
Right.
for me to get involved with. And when I started making more Ugandan friends,
Sorry, I had to pause. This brother right here is from UK in Uganda. So we have an African American and in O'Shea, and we have a UK brother, and I don't know his name, but he's coming from UK. So you're seeing 2 types of importation of migration or reverse migration.
they didn't see the same opportunities
Oh, good
that
point.
I did.
Good point.
They'd always, what, you like it here? What, you want to stay? What, you want to make
Right.
more of? They was always surprised of the fact that I liked
Mm-hmm.
living in Uganda, namely Kampala.
Mhm.
And I think it's just, when I suppose it's familiarity breeds contempt sort of
Right.
situation. It's like they can't see the positives, whereas I can. Whereas
Mhm.
if Ugandans always tell me, "Oh, when you bringing me to London with you, da 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 da
Yeah.
da," because they can see it from a different,
Yeah, great
perspective
point.
than I do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when they get there, they're gonna hit the ground running. Like,
Right.
oh my god, I ain't got to deal with X, Y, and Z. I can
Uh-huh.
push on and make something of myself here. Whereas me in London, I just felt, downtrodden. Like I just felt like, you know what, I'm at the glass ceiling and my nose is pressed up against it. I'm out.
Mhm.
So, it's just where you are, where you're at, and how you perceive, the place you're going to or the
I felt the same way moving to Texas. I was like, man, you were the guy talking about you're from San Diego, right?
I'm born and raised in New York City. Went to San Diego at 18, 19. Lived in San Diego 12 years. LA for 1. Florida for 4. Now I'm in the North Carolina Triangle.
So when I moved, North Carolina Triangle. Oh, okay. I got folks out outside of Greensville, I think. But when I moved to Texas, you got to understand, I came from the Bay Area, urban centers. I moved out here, and I'm like, man, you guys have land, and we talk about you have space, and we talk about Black-owned businesses, true Black-owned businesses, not I own a store in a lot of stores, like. Yeah. I own the land, I own the store, I own the land that it comes on, the poles that come from the line, and I own the acreage that goes behind it. You don't see white people for 6, 7, 8, 10 miles. I'm like, man, do y'all not know what y'all have? And it's one of those things that like he's speaking to. It's like you're in your own area and you feel like you feel like you're being pressed against the glass ceiling, and then you change and then you see the opportunities in other places. And it's not that you think that people are lazy, you're just missing the opportunity. Or you're
I think from my experience, I've always been a little bit ahead with optimism. So I never really felt like I never disliked New York City. I was just interested in the West Coast and living in California for a while. And then I did that for a long time. I think I squeezed every bit of juice out of it. And I started getting into the whole Florida thing. Okay, let's go check out Florida. Let's go see what Miami's like. Let's go see what Fort Lauderdale and Tampa are like. For me, it was more optimism than running into a glass ceiling. This is my personal experience. But I understand exactly what you're talking about, where the familiarity breeds contempt. You may not see things. And there's a lot of politics that are local too, because that you might not want to deal with anymore. You might want to say, you know what? Let me just go here, new people, new faces, and then you just have clarity of mind because you're not among the same malaise you were prior. What up, O'Shea? How you doing, son?
Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, brother. As us creatives we see certain things and we say we gotta jump on it. We gotta talk about it. These are one of those things, like I said, for my channel, I try, I can do some ratchet ass topics, but I get inspired through a lot of different things. And, this is one of those videos that inspire you like, man, this is something I really want to talk about. And it was done in a way because this could easily be FBA versus African. This could easily be a trash topic, but the way that these people approached it, I truly can see the true, genuine conversation rather than that. Oh, they hate me, so I hate y'all.
See,
So
now here's how I see it, right? So I just finished a book called Stolen Focus. And I've read books like Cal Newport's book where they talk about how Silicon Valley inventions like the social media apps are purposefully designed to have a negativity bias, right? That's why YouTube thumbnails and the titles have the clickbait of something wrong, somebody's outraged, slammed, and so on. Okay, we know psychologically people get in tune with that. My question is, can we morph it and say, can you believe Black Americans have only invested $500 million in Africa? Right? Can we take the same idea where everybody is more in tune with negativity, but just flip it so that you cause outrage in a positive direction as opposed to splitting us apart? How come African Americans have only bought 100 trucks for Liberia? Where's the 150? How come we only have 1,000 acres in Uganda? Where's the next 500 coming from?
man,
See what I'm saying? I try to
that,
always make lemonade.
and that's the thing, oh man, it's gonna take. I do believe a lot of content creators from the African side do need to kind of reach out and kind of especially from the business side, like, come together. And we have a lot of content creators out here that could really just put together a message of true positivity. There's this one guy, he used to travel in Africa a lot, and he showed all the great places to eat and stuff of Africa, and he did a great job. But from an economic standpoint, I think because a lot of the times people still think Africa as a whole, even though it's a large continent, not a country, has many cities in it that are really well developed. And I think it's just a propaganda thing that if we could show Africa in a different way, I believe that you can really do the clickbait thing. But
I'm
like
binge
I said,
watching the farming. Like I've been
yeah.
on a African farming binge because I'm watching especially bamboo, pig raising, and using the black soldier flies as a protein source for the farm animals. I think that's going to be because I'm involved in aquaponics, bamboo farming, and black soldier flies here at NC. I got, like I said, the land I have before, and I'm thinking, okay, what can I bring over there to plug into that? I think the black soldier fly thing for the small scale farming is going to be an easy one. Because I think blacks in America, if we return to our farming roots, we can take we have it inside of us. We can take that there and then just tenfold their productivity.
Yeah,
And then the income
and
flows come here and the food.
But you know what? I as much as I shit on Texas a lot, but I really do see the benefits of agriculture that people do not realize. What ended up happening in the 80s and 90s in terms of the union busting for the farmers, I really don't think people realize how much, like, it's not that people are leaving farmer, they are forcing out farmers. You know, they're trying to force out farmers, and then those who are truly staying in them, they're keeping them under oppressive economic debt. It's just ridiculous the amount. And then, but one more thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to that. There was some you spoke about bringing something to Africa. Have you heard about this weird kind of plant that's in South of America that has like a gel that forms around it, and it helps for fertilization and nitrates?
Haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. I found a video, and it's a weird video, but like there's some plants that are like in some South American farmland where the genetic of the plant actually breeds its own microcosm, like a gel around, like a dew point around it, and it makes some corn. It makes the corn grow like 10 times as fast without as much fertilizer. Because a lot of, from my understanding, fertilizer uses nitrate. You have to spray it on there or import it in to create it. So anyway,
Well,
I don't
that's
want to
also why aquaponics are becoming more popular in the
Yes.
South here and in Africa, because you can use the fish droppings to essentially give you a source of those lost minerals from the animals
yes. So
and permaculture.
I don't
think,
want to
you
get
know,
too far into it. I'm sorry.
Why not? Why not get into it? Why not? That's my thing. Why not get into it? There's no time like the
I don't
present.
want. I want to keep it on this before. Hey, good conversation though. But I definitely just want to get to this video. I'm sorry, man.
Now I believe you. I'm just curious though, like why?
Yes.
I'm curious because like
Yeah,
I'm naturally more of an
No,
operator,
yeah,
right?
and like I said, I'm trying to keep it as consistent to this topic. That's why it has nothing more than just because we'll
feel
go
you.
far down the line.
All right, take it easy.
I agree with O'Shea. There's two sides to it, and it was not that the people like me coming here, I'm so much more better than Ugandan DJs.
Mhm.
It's just that it's something new to me.
Mhm.
It's something that is all on me,
Mhm.
and the bars I'm playing for are making, on the majority, are making money for Ugandans, black people. So
Mhm.
you know, that alone is giving me more impetus to
Mhm.
to do more. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Mhm.
Oh.
No, I'm not going to be controversial today. Like, I agree.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
Way.
What points do you agree with?
Okay. No, I think, yeah, like when you're in a place and it's new to you, there's a different type of hunger.
Mm.
And but I think because we're comparing it to like moving from the West to Africa,
Mhm.
whereas it is different when you move from Africa to the West.
Mhm.
So, okay, so I am going to be a bit controversial.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. So, when you come like from the West and you come over here,
Right.
there are opportunities that are given to you that wouldn't be given necessarily to the people that are here, or that they can't access in the same ways you can.
Mhm.
So, like rooms that you would be able to enter simply for the fact that you're not from here,
Mhm.
type of thing. So, that you said the thing about how like some Ugandans will be like, oh, you really want to stay here?
Mhm.
That's because their version of Uganda isn't the version that
You see.
Yeah,
you
that I'm
get to see.
experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I found that to be an interesting statement. She's your version of where you live at is not the version that somebody else sees. That's a very interesting perspective. You know, a lot of us may live in a town and it's very small, and you don't see the opportunities because you've lived there your whole life, but somebody else can see it and appreciate it. You know, murals. Like I've always told people, I'm a mural. I love seeing murals and graffiti, and people from that town may not appreciate it as much as somebody else. Like being able to go and buy actual African clothing is a thing that I love about certain cities. You know, I don't have that in my city. You know, well, I have a very limited choice of that. So, you know, you don't really appreciate what you have, and you sometimes underappreciate it to the point to where when you go somewhere else, you're like, man, I wish I had that back home. So anyway, keep going.
I think that
It's a great
there's that, but then also coming from Africa and then going over to the West, there's a hunger in that. Because I think O'Shea said something about top performers and they would have been doing well where they were. Not necessarily, like there's people that come from here who literally would have had one pair of shoes and that's it. But then they get to the States or wherever and they grind, but it's because they had one pair of shoes. Do you know what I mean? So like the hunger is completely different. But then also that thing we do where we just want to
Facts.
compete like within each other of, oh, this one's hardworking, this one's not as hardworking, this one's lazy. Again, it's just the crabs in a barrel thing. So it's again anti-blackness. But yeah. So,
We shall name Tina the
Anti-blackness.
Miss Anti-Blackness.
that's because many things are anti-black, like at their core.
Yeah.
It's just like tools that are used to keep us bickering and arguing with each other when yeah.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah. Yeah. I think, well, I've not been to the States, so I can't speak on what he was saying, just to show you the Ugandan side of everything. When you look at the older generation, like our parents and whatnot, they also, I think they look at us, the younger generation, and think you're lazy or you're not grateful, or that's why people have no respect for you, because they went through so much to have what they have. And here we are, we have everything, and it's like, oh, guys, the internet is not working. It's not fast enough.
Oh,
And it's like,
man.
oh, the world is ending, and it's looking at you like, what? We have.
Oh man, I totally understand that. Like even my daughter now, she looks at an iPad and she is doesn't understand how having technology at your tips of your hand and being able to connect to the internet is a luxury. It is a luxury. And there was times in which I remember you had to go to internet cafes and stay there late at night to do homework, and to wait until your computer labs opened at school just to do your homework because the internet connection at home was bad, or because it was tied to one phone line. Now you can do your homework on your smart device and turn it in without a blink. So a lot of times that type of behavior does creep in. So I definitely understand where she's coming from. O'Shea got a really good panel for this.
Had to walk miles to school. We had to struggle, and with button phones, we went to school during the war, something like that. So I feel like both sides have that valid points, because like in this day and age, of course, I'm not going to complain about transportation because I can get where I want to get. But then in that time, they're complaining about walking and whatnot. It's the same thing as school. When we're at school, when we had the kids, like, I don't want to say the country, like refugees, yeah, they were, I don't know, they used to do things so differently. They were more hungry. Like they wouldn't sleep. They were reading every second of their life. They were going the extra mile. They were going above and beyond with everything they were doing. And then it's just us who are in school, and it's like we've not experienced anything they've experienced, and we're just enjoying the fruits of our parents or something like that. So we're just vibing. So in their eyes, they used to look at Ugandans like, oh, you guys are actually lazy because you don't know what you have and you're not working for that.
Right.
And yet when they come in, they dominate among the first the top 5 students in class and whatnot. I feel like it's how you see it at the end of the day.
And that's the crux of the issue. The crux of the issue is that people who have less than, or who are forced to be put into situations of survival, they tend to excel and tend to appreciate anything they have. Now, in a developed country like Uganda, even they have refugees that come into their country and they excel because they had less than what they had. So that's the problem. That or it's not even a problem. That's the viewpoint of both sides, is that even in a developed country like Uganda, they're going to be looked down upon because they have more than the people that have or had less than them. And then they come to our country, and then they look at us like, man, you guys have all this. So the issue is not that nobody respects it, is that sometimes it is just this what it is. You know, it's just it is what it is. But anyway, you're comparing apples to walnuts. If you can't relate, you can't relate. Your daughter is in a different world. Yes, she is in a different world. Shout out to that green vegan brother eBlack. Come over to Condor and build it up. Hey, man, I've been trying to get off this damn continent. I've been trying my hardest to get off this continent, man. I've been trying, man. I'll be there soon. I'll be there soon. I always say that. I'll be there soon. I won't. I won't. I don't. I don't say I will. I'm trying. I said I will be there soon.
For sure.
Yeah.
for sure.
I wanted to mention that we have an audience in the background. We have Kohani and Rachel. So if they have something they want to say.
Well, I can't relate with, like, I've never been to America, but I have relatives who have been there, friends, people I've had, share stories. I see these on internet and all that. And being from Uganda, which is a developing country, I would say we don't have as much opportunities as in the US and everything. And sometimes, like some people come here and see opportunities that we don't see here. So I feel like the people who go there sometimes it's on scholarships, or maybe some are well-off families, so they can take care of their kids and everything. But usually because the people who have gone there say it's so many opportunities, and it doesn't matter if you left here as a doctor or as a lawyer. When you go there, you can do the lowest jobs that African Americans are not doing, or they are looking. They feel like they can't do that because it's their country. They've been there their whole life. They want to be on the forefront, So if I live here, I've left from extreme poverty. I don't care what I do there. So I don't care what these other people do, what they throw at me. I've had some say they're made fun of how they dress, how they speak, like their accents and everything. But most times they don't care because they have a goal. They are so ambitious because they feel like I didn't have this in my country. So I've come to America and I have all this. So I'm shutting out all the noise. I'm making the money. And that's why they come out as successful, and they'll see the other people as lazy because they're saying, you people are here, you have all these opportunities and everything, but you're not taking them, you're just complaining. So to them, it makes them lazy.
Shout out to Rachel. She hit it on the head in regards to, you get you do, like I said, when I came to Texas, I was busting my ass. I looked up every single temp company, every single place that was employed. I hit the streets running because I seen the opportunities that were different from for instance, my family members were there. So, you know, it is and that's just I think that's a humanly thing. I don't think that's really necessarily has to do with where you come from. It's just a human thing. Whenever you go and you're moving towards something, you see opportunities, you see the fixes that could be done, or the places where you can fit in. So I agree totally with it, and it does breed sometimes contention because you're like, man, all I had to do was this. All I had to do was this, and then you say you guys are just lazy. So but what O'Shea said, yeah, O'Shea, hit me up on my email. I'm like I said, I got you. You already got my number, bro. So hit me up anytime, man. So we're talking about crop dusters. Yes. Look at half the price of jet fuel. Whew. Damn, yeah. So, I think we do. I think it is purposely designed to keep Americans feeding upon America. And I keep trying to tell people this all the time. They do not want you to expand. They do not, this system does not want you to expand. They do not want you to truly be a part of the capitalistic system. They want you to be dependent upon their system. And as long as you separate yourself from the continent of Africa or your continent of origin, you'll never reach out, and you'll always be dependent upon their system, their knowledge, their culture, their judicial system, their way of living, their standard that they feel that you should be having. You know, we talk about minimum wage. We talk about how a person that people are telling you that you shouldn't be able to make that based on a type of job that you have. It's like, no, you know, until the next time they feel, well, we need you. Then you become essential workers. You get what I'm saying? Like, when the country shut down, the jobs that they said that you shouldn't get paid a decent wage became essential. We can't live without you. Truckers, we can't live without you. Farmers, you got to keep producing. Customer service, you got to keep producing. You know? So shout out to them. Shout out to Esso. Like I said, if you guys want to put your 2 cents in there, you don't have to cam up. Just make sure that I will, you know, of course, just keep it light-hearted. But anyway, my phone ringing. Let's keep it going.
You know, the same way the other people would come here and see some opportunities which we don't see, or maybe we cannot access them, but they can access them. So they would see us as lazy compared to what it is or how we see it. Yeah.
Good
Well
points.
said.
Let me just say this. So, like, very similar with the African American community is like the Caribbean community in the UK, where, you know, the Caribbean community was trying to make strides and they were being held back.
Yeah.
And then you saw, you know, like in the 60s and 70s when you had the Biafra War, you know, you had all these instability in Africa. So you started seeing these Africans come over to the UK, and then these Africans were doing better than the Caribbeans, although the Caribbeans have been held down by Britain. Same thing with us. So we had like Black Wall Street and all these things, and systemically we had been held down, right?
Yeah.
So people will listen to what Anton Daniel said and will take some umbrage with it because we never factor in, like, okay, the African American community was targeted, even with drugs and crime and all of that. But again, like, one of the things we want to talk about is that, like Dr. Claude Anderson said, these people are not us. They're not going to have our experience. And that's been the division between the African American community and the first generation Africans. We call them the new blacks, you know, the burgeoning blacks. So they don't have our experience. And we are like, well, wait a minute. You know, our work is why you're here, which is partly true. It is true. You know, just like for the Caribbeans and the Africans, like, you guys paved the way for everybody else to come there. Yeah. But when they come there, they don't care. But let me just say this, and this is no disrespect to what I'm seeing in the African continent, but when I come here, it's very difficult when I first got here to see what's going on with the local person's experience, because I'm not them. So if I don't know that you're living on $1 a day or may not care, I'm going to get to moving. And if you don't do it, I'm going to come in and do it very well. I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to obliterate anything in my path. That's because I got to get to it and I got to be somebody.
And I think that goes to the crux of the issue, is that, you know, the fact that people can come over here and not respect the journey or benefit from the journey that African Americans have made. African Americans say, hold up now. Y'all coming over here and y'all not paying us due homage. Y'all not paying us our issue. Y'all not respecting us. Not only that, y'all coming over here calling us lazy when we've made the ultimate sacrifices and trying to get it together. And I think that's the issue, because, like I said, if you go to another country and you just say, man, I don't understand why y'all working for $1 a day. Like, why y'all working for $1 a day? You don't have to. And it would be like, they would look at us as arrogant because we're not respecting. We wouldn't be respecting them. So, great point, O'Shea.
The reason why I'm here. So a lot of people get offended by that, but I understand how immigrants feel. It's not their fault that they don't understand our issues and they didn't grow up like us and constant electricity and things like that. And I understand that we've been targeted as a community. That is definitely true. But we can't expect Caribbeans been in Black America for a long time. So Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, people like that. But the new generation coming over, we can't expect them to align with our issues because they're not us. And dare I say, when we go back to Africa, we don't align with what they've been going through. Because you just said it, the doors are more open for us. Mm-hmm. You know, it's easier for us to move around and do things. We have more privilege when we come here. It's the truth. We're not living like somebody in Kamocha, something like that. Right. When we coming in, like you talked about golfing and living in whatever. What? Like, you know what? It's a true story. I took I took Prentice to the airport. We won't call one of our maids name. It was like, oh, because why don't you ride with us? She's never been to the Entebbe airport before, ever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking? She never been there. This is the first time she ever went to the airport. She was so excited. I'm like, okay. She's like, I've never even been to the airport. She's been here for like 40 years. Mm-hmm. So for her, it was exciting. And I was like, I was wanting to cry. Like, fuck, you never been to the airport. So the thing is, I think like if you're an immigrant in any country, those new people are going to come for you and they're going to come for you hard. They're going to eat your lunch. Dr. Claude Anderson predicted this about the Hispanic community. That's why John Leguizamo was saying, now we built this country. That's been a big issue in America with Black Americans. But if you don't get after it and unite with your people, anybody can come in and take what you got. And I will say the same thing. If I didn't have a Pan-African mentality here, you don't see the opportunity, somebody like me, I'm going to crush you. That's just how I feel. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't think like that, but if I was that kind of person, I'd knock you out the box. If you're not going to do very, very, very well. And I don't care what's your excuse. I don't care if you're poor. None of that. And that's the same thing coming over us. They don't care. And we can get offended by it, but we need to actually understand, like, hey, got to rise to the occasion because these people are coming in and not playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. I think conversations between us all need to be had like we're having now, right? Mm-hmm. Because to understand each other's experience is only going to make us better. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you like me coming here and having, you know,
facts. If you cannot sit down and see, this is the thing that's happening. We are having groups of people yell at each other. And this is why I love the way I run my channel, is that I've always said, if you get two people together and you stop the yelling and you get them closer together on their points, you can have conversations and build on ideologies. You can actually learn where the other person is coming from. As you can see, this group of panel, they're talking to each other. They're having a civilized debate. And then you can really see, well, it's not that they don't respect you or they don't think you're lazy. It's just the perception. It's just the opportunities. It's just the generational gaps that happen, or the technology gaps. It's a lot of different facets to this argument. So it's not necessarily just, oh, you're lazy and you're not taking advantage of it. It has a lot to do with just human approach, human lives. And they even recognize that it's a distraction from the larger goal that we're trying to eradicate, which is supremacy across the globe, to classism across the globe, to racism across the globe. So anyway. Yeah. O'Shea rock. O'Shea's rock. Is that salmon? Is that what color shirt is that, O'Shea? I don't know. But shout out to O'Shea. Looks like salmon. It looks like or it could be somebody had said something, placenta pink. O'Shea would say only real men can wear pink. I get it, O'Shea, you know. I get it. Guava color, we'll figure it out.
Certain views on things, you will, because we're having conversations, and I'm not the only like British Caribbean, if to coin a phrase or whatever, that I am. They will understand a bit more.
Right.
Oh, he behaves such a way because where he's from.
Great point.
Yeah, it's XYZ. And I can be I'm a little bit more learned with my Ugandan friends about the issues and things they face. Even to the point where, yes, my accent and where I'm from and my experience, my knowledge will get in the door. But after that, it always stems down to, he's not Ugandan. So if it comes to me being the face of an event or me wanting to promote an event, it's not going to be looked upon
favorably.
Favorably with their peers and whatnot. Like, sure, couldn't you find a Ugandan who could have done that?
Right.
And
yeah, that happens. Goodness, you always get frustrated with the fact that, gosh, man, you just get frustrated with the fact that, man, you couldn't find one Black American to do this role. I think Lorenz Tate was talking about this in regards to movie roles, where you're starting to see even the guy that did The Wire, and his name is not getting off the top of my head, but the guy that did The Wire, he was a British guy. It's like, well, you're talking about a Black American story. Why do you need a British guy? Then the lady that did Harriet Tubman, she was from Britain, England. So, you always, it becomes a frustration because you feel as if opportunities are taken away from, where everybody talks about America first or country first, but then in reality, it's never about that. So what are we truly fighting for? Idris Elba. Yes. I don't know how I forgot that name.
And I get it. Like, jobs are scarce here. People are struggling. So me getting a job over Uganda is not going to look good. But at the same time, if I do get that job, let's start a conversation. Like, what can I bring to the table? Like, how can I can train, people can learn off me, and then the people you employ from that point on, will be better skilled. You're not having to deal with inadequacies and getting frustrations, and then you're firing them. You're like, you've got someone there on the ground like me with a different set of skills, a different experience that I can bring to the table and help Ugandans. Then if after a few years I could move to the side, or I could move upstairs, or I could start my own thing. But the conversations need to be had, because my experience personally, I'm starting to get a little bit tired of people fearing what I have to offer. Don't fear what I have to offer, and just ignore me. Like, listen to what I have to say. Let's have this conversation.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Yeah.
I think as foreigners, it forces us to even make this podcast and make our own events because of what you just said.
Yeah.
So it forces you to okay, we got to survive here.
Yeah.
So now we got to okay, let's all come together.
Yeah.
Yeah. People who wouldn't have probably worked together before, it forces.
Now, Green Vegan, she says respectfully, why do we care or listen to people not born or raised here asking seriously? Now, this is the point. Green Vegan, O'Shea Duke Jackson is from California. O'Shea Duke Jackson is from Sacramento. So him in the conversation with a British Columbian or a Caribbean guy and two native Ugandans is an excellent conversation to have. So, boo you.
Say we gotta do something about our situation.
Exactly, O'Shea, because that's my mindset now. My
Yeah.
mindset's now, all right.
Now, Shad says, I just subbed to her because I need the vegan perspective. Y'all kill me. Kelly be killing me. Anyway, yeah. She gonna give you that vegan perspective. Yeah, sure. We are all Earthlings. I'm sorry. I'll be silly.
I'm just gonna open a bar.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna decorate it and run it the way I've been trying to do with
other bars.
There
you go.
Right. And then when you come there and be like, right, this place is how did you this me? This is what I'm saying. Let's well, we can have this wherever we want. We just need to work a little more together more, like I mean less fear that I'm going to take your job. I'm going to take from you. I'm not taking, I'm adding.
But the thing is, not a lot of people think like that. That's why there is that fear. It's like what you suggested. Yeah, it sounds great, but most people will not be thinking like that. It will simply just be about what they can do for themselves. But then also it's hard because like just because you don't want to take jobs away from Ugandans, you still have to work. So what you're saying is a good balance, but most people won't think like that.
Yeah.
So.
I hear that.
Would you this is off topic, would you say that the diaspora is taking jobs away from the locals? I'm sorry, I think it was off topic, but what do you think?
Well, let me just say this. I know that I saw a video the other day. I think Kuhani, you want to say something, right? So before I go there, I saw a poultry farm in Ghana saying that the diaspora is now running poultry in Ghana. So it could be Ghanaian diaspora or other groups, but I'm pretty sure it's Ghanaian diaspora. But now to those locals, they don't look at those people as true. In my honest opinion, from what I believe, they probably don't look at them as true local Ghanaians, if that makes sense. Possibly because you've lived somewhere else. And to be fair, once your kids grow up in America or Britain, after 2 generations, they're now us. They become us. You know what I mean? So the diaspora is competing against local Africans back in the continent. And in fact, the government wants that. The government wants you to, we've met with God.
Now that's an interesting take because, once again, most governments want an influx of skilled, trained people. So it is becoming a dynamic of, okay, why can't you use the people? Why can't you train the people that are on the boots or on the ground that benefit the most? Why do you need to import them? And that's a conversation that I think creates a lot of apprehension between cultures and stuff. So good point.
Guys, before, come bring all of your people here.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. The guy told us. We won't call his name. We want you guys to bring your people here. And within a year, you'll have countries. Look, bring your podcast to our country. We want you guys here. So what is that? What are you saying to the people who are there? So now, 2 things can happen. You could bring in something that wasn't there. Like this Repat podcast. It wasn't here anywhere in the world. So that's not necessarily competition in that case because it wasn't anybody doing this. But now when you start going to some of your things, like we see the Chinese trickling down into like the local sectors, clothing, imports of goods.
Let me say this. I don't think it's necessarily local governments not seeing. How do I put this? I believe, in my honest of hearts, new energy breeds new life. And it's harder to breed new life into people who are less likely to follow along with the program than it is to bring in something new to infuse new life. So I think infusing new life into a situation is easier to a lot of people than actually dealing with the local stuff. So for instance, if I was to want to create something like a program for children and I'd have to choose between the local teachers pool or the local mentoring pool, I would deal with the stuff that I know could block me. Or would I say, hey, I know this program that comes from out of town. They're coming in with a lot of good energy. They're going to infuse a lot of good energy into the community. I think I would be more inclined to infuse new energy because I know that the hardship or the road that it would take to get, the local the local to kind of do it. So my phone is like going off for no damn reason. Nope. And I got sent a meme. So anyway, bye.
That's different. And that will happen. And it will come down to who does the job best. And Americans are going to be good. I'm just going to tell you who, in comparison to what you see every day, people from Britain and America are going to come in with their education, their systems of doing things. They're going to be good. So in a way, that part, you're going to feel that aspect. And then you're also going to see these people coming in, contractors. They have contractors here. You're going to get Americans coming here and doing that. You're going to get Americans coming in doing everything that's already here. And some people are going to go. And then some businesses will have to be forced to get better. But yeah, it's going to happen. Next 15 years, 20 years in Africa, you're going to see more people coming here. And they're going to be good.
Yeah. My thought on that is I don't think in the line of work I'm in, I'm in direct conflict with the local Ugandan in terms of like work. I think the plans I have now is that I will be employing Ugandans. So I will be creating, opportunities, and I'll be creating a framework that probably most local Ugandans haven't worked in. Like we was talking about it off air, right? About how poorly paid and how badly treated some like drivers are, right? So, by working for me, like I can show you, like, you will get paid on time, you will get looked after. I will show you compassion when you come to me and you're real about it. And this will hopefully give people experience. Like, you know what, this is actually how I want to be treated by an employer. So moving forward, you could be like, no, I'm not doing that, or I'm not going to let you treat me like this. I want X, Y, and Z. And if you can't,
Danny K, you can come through.
I'll have to move on.
Pull up, Danny K. Salute to Danny K.
That's my mindset on it with regards to your question.
Because typically, I don't think like people from the diaspora would be coming looking for jobs necessarily. They would be creating businesses. So if they have that motto of like, I'm going to be a different type of employer, then why not? Because working in this place.
Kohani had something to say.
For me, what I wanted to say was I also feel like the media also contributes a lot in how people deal with each other. Like if I go to the diaspora, what I've been fed by the media, they show us a specific type of person that, like, that's what I'm going to find there. Then you get there and you realize it's different. Same thing with when people come from the diaspora, whatever they're shown in the media, like they think when you come to Africa, you're going to find, I don't know, people living in, strange situations, but you get here and you're surprised. You're like, oh my God, it's so developed. People are actually doing things.
Even the whole lazy thing is from that as well. It's the media that pushes this thing of like,
So people are they lazy or no?
No, they're not.
No.
Everyone's doing the best they can.
I think some people are lazy. I'm sorry.
She's just silence.
I mean, let me just tell you this, right? So I have this is not me saying this. If you look at most people, like in America and in the African American community, you will hear a lot of African Americans say that African Americans are lazy. This is black people saying this. And in Uganda, for sure, I've heard Ugandans say that about Ugandans. More so than not. Like you hear all the time, Ugandans don't want to work. Ugandans are lazy. But now I want to push back on this. It's like, okay, if a person is paying to go to work, and that happens here because people just don't want to feel, lazy as an archetype. So that person is 300,000 shillings a month. You're working them 7 days a week, and their bills to cost to be them is 1 million a month. is that person going to be very excited to come to work and to what is the incentivization? So I think that a lot of times that laziness, and you never ask them why. Why do you feel that you are lazy? And we've never heard the other side of it, but I would suspect there is no incentivization. Somebody's life has to mean something for them to really be productive.
Yeah.
That's the reason why people want to go to the diaspora. Because if I go to America, I got a chance. I can be something if I try hard to be something. Whereas here, I think somebody in like our position, it's a lot different from somebody who didn't have, like, because we're coming from a credit system. I have an American Express card.
Yeah, and that goes into new energy, breathes new life into certain things. You know, when like I said, when you're able to feel as if you have a chance, you're going to make the best out of every situation. You're going to accept what's going on. In fact, I didn't, when I moved to Texas, I got the lowest paid that I ever got in my life, but I still was good at my job, and I still had a different level of appreciation for what I was doing at that particular time. So it goes back to what I just said. You know, when you're forced to be put in new situations, or you feel like you're trying to make the best out of a situation, you're going to excel versus a person that is stuck in their current situation. So they're going to see you differently from the perspective of somebody else. You know, we all started a new job, and that new job for the first year, we're just gung ho. We're going straight at it. After a couple of years, you know, you get complacent. And I think that's what it is with America, is that there is a lot of complacency, and you know, influx of new energy does seem attractive to people who want to get stuff done. They just want to get stuff done. So that's just my opinion.
Cards and stuff. I have dollars and whatever that I can get things done. So for me, I see the opportunity. I can just move.
All right. Another thing, y'all need to hit the like button. Y'all need to hit the like button. Not only that, if y'all want to join the conversation instead of me just blabbing off, hit the link is pinned to the comments. Also, please make sure that if you do want to get special links to the actual commentary or to my panels, please fill out the form. The form link is in the description too. So let's go.
Hey, somebody can work in wrong tribe, wrong name, and can never get anywhere. When you get in America, it ain't about if you're fat or if you're gay or if you're whatever. Pretty much, if you're smart and you can do the work, hey, America loves talent. America values talented people. We don't care what you look like. Long as you do what you're supposed to do, take that opportunity. In fact, we want you to do it so you can create business and create more taxes for the government. That's what America wants, talented people. Whereas here, talented people are not really appreciated so much. They're not, you know. So what is this person supposed to do? I would suspect. I think a lot of people are just giving up. They feel like, I'm not going to be listened to.
Yeah.
There is some.
He's speaking right to what I said. I didn't. Now this is a live reaction to me because I stopped at a long time ago. So he's saying exactly what I'm saying. Yo.
Yeah, go ahead, let it roll. And then after he gets done cooking, I'm gonna go.
Go ahead.
Some level of corruption as far as how far my life can go, and it's predetermined. But if I go somewhere else, my life is not predetermined. If I can do it on my own continents, I have a chance.
Yeah. Just to piggyback on what you were saying, I feel like for Ugandans, I don't think. Oh, I take back my word. Not everyone is lazy. What I'm trying to say is that, like he said, it's like Ugandans have this thing of, oh, you know what? Just go and work, even if you're, you know, sometimes you go somewhere, you work, you're earning a very low salary, and then it's like your transportation is more than that salary. Your cost of living is higher than what you earn. So you're just working so that people don't see you at home. Because I feel like in an African home, you can't just sit on the couch. Like that's the most unacceptable thing in this for an African child, you can't just go home and sit.
Caribbean home too.
You can't
Black
even on
homes in
holiday.
Black
general,
homes
yeah.
generally.
Yeah,
if
you
I'm
can't.
sitting
I like
You
down,
can't
Lady in
wake
the
up
Red.
and sit. What? You
What?
woke up and
Go
decided
read a
to
book.
sit?
That's what I got.
What you say?
Yeah, see, Lady in the Red is talking about numbers, right? Expenses. That's what matters because people are going to be lazy if they don't think they're going to get a good rate of return, right?
Yeah.
Like she said, if you're paying more in transportation to and from work than you're getting paid, what's the point? You're just a slave at that point with extra steps.
Now, I ran into the exact same situation when I moved to Texas. They don't have public
Yeah, I
transportation.
know. Yeah, it sucks.
So guess what I did? Walked, and I
Yeah,
got a bike.
walk, bus, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can. But I'm saying that's what we need to know, right? So I would ask O'Shea if he's listening, if you ever do any guests, try to find a Ugandan lawyer who specializes in corporate law and maybe somebody who can tell us about what the expenses are to operate there. Because looking it up is it's hard to see, and they have a lot of capital controls. So it might not be that easy for a lot of Americans to get in. But
Hmm.
I think that bank was it what was the name of the bank? Sandig Bank or whatever. It's small, only 2.5 billion in assets. We could probably buy the whole thing just from
Okay.
YouTube. We
Well,
could probably, yeah.
let me
It's,
let me
but see,
let
the
me see
capital
how much.
controls are
Let me see how much I'm getting sued for $1,000. So I don't know. I might be 1,000 out the hole. No, I'll help out. But no, good point. Good point.
because we
Go
can
ahead.
probably afford to pay. Like, see, it's all about what we can get on the opposite side of the transaction. Because if we can play that spread, employ them, pay them twice as much as they're getting now, depending upon what it costs to transport things either around the rest of Africa, maybe send stuff to Dubai. Because I noticed some of the investors in that bank are Kuwait and some UAE entities, but I don't know what it would cost to bring some of the stuff back to the US, depending upon if it's like food or whatever. So,
Yeah, yeah, and then you also got to think about the fees that may be attached with sending that money there. So, and then you also have to have trustworthy people, and then sometimes, uh, how do you say a motion, a kind of like a motivating factor, you know?
it's called money. It motivates most people.
Yes, sir. I want to give a shout out to one of my newest Black Pride members. Salute to my guy. Just hear me out.
Oh, Negrel, nice.
Yeah, we are the. If you didn't know, the Black Pride. It doesn't mean it. It's the pride. We're a collective group.
Yeah, like a Pride Alliance or whatever.
Yes. So that is not necessarily saying not like white pride or black, the
Nah, I feel you.
stereotypical, but we're just a collective group of those. And I'm black, so we're the. Anyway, let's keep it going. Wait, I must have moved this button.
Exactly.
I've
It's
got
like-
up with my parents. I'm watching cartoons. They walk in the room. What are
Yeah.
you watching? What's this? Guff, read a book.
Exactly.
Sorry
it's
to
like-
interrupt you, Jody.
Yeah,
sorry.
it's okay.
Sorry.
It's a-
Very triggering.
I'm
Very
sorry.
triggering,
But yeah, it's like you have to keep doing something so that people like that who have for most Ugandans, it's like, let people see that I'm doing something,
Mhm.
even if it's not getting me anywhere or it's not going to help anyone in my life.
Yeah.
So let me be seen as doing something. But then on the other side, that people are genuinely just lazy.
Mhm.
Like they just want to sit back at home and have everything handed to them. I know someone who was at uni and he kept failing his semester
Yeah.
because he wanted to stay at uni so that his parents can fund his lifestyle.
Many
like,
Americans do
what-
that.
Isn't that the
Yeah.
definition of laziness?
Is he still there?
He's somewhere.
Lecturer there now.
Yeah, but like it doesn't make sense. He just wanted. So the semester I said, this semester I must fail. He was just, lazing in bed, partying, living his business. Like, that person is lazy. That person doesn't want to do anything for himself. So yes, there are people out there who are lazy who want to take advantage of other people. So those exist. But then that people are hardworking, but it's just that the system doesn't favor them, or the system doesn't help them to be who they would be if they went somewhere else and ended up.
She is actually a really smart individual. She articulates her point really well. I told she doesn't come off as just saying, "Oh, the system is bad." She's actually giving you why the system may be not advantageous to the people on the ground.
Yeah, if the numbers don't work, the numbers don't work. So I'm saying you gotta look at that, right? We need the numbers. We need to know, what can somebody working there or investing there expect to get? Like, what are the profit margins on ag products there, wholesale to retail? What are the logistics costs? I see jet fuel is pretty cheap, so that makes me think, because it's cheaper than here. We're paying like $5.35 for Jet A here. I think it was $2.32 at Kambala. So that's nice, because that could make things like crop dusting much more lucrative if they. Cause I seem to have some rice plantations nearby where the capital is. And
Yes.
yeah, I think rice plantations tend to be pretty ag aircraft heavy in places around the world.
Yeah, and the one thing about it is that like I always say, the influx of new energy helps out a lot. You see it a lot. You see it a lot in terms of new development, especially in anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world. When you see new development, you see a new breed of energy, and people start to move differently, and new opportunities. It's when new development gets stagnated by underdevelopment. It really we're humans.
It's the fiscal flows, man. A lot of the mysterious energies is just money. That's what it is, right? Because you have remote work, so you have people that can leverage making a San Francisco salary somewhere in the middle of Florida, which might be 2x, and then they're pumping money into, say, the hair salon, right? They're paying $400 for a nice woman's hairstyle in San Francisco. That money is crazy in that small town in Florida. So boom, the hairdresser has more money. Her kids have more money. They go to GameStop more often. They go out to eat, and so on and so on, right? That's what you have to look at. So the same thing can happen here. You just have to find that hook and say, okay, what gives us the best place to put wholesale money into, generate stuff locally, and then you can scrape off that as well.
Yes,
Again,
exactly. Man, you hit it right on the head. When you influx, how can we get the money back into our own community so that the economic growth of our community can get that new energy, that new opportunity, that next great idea, that next great product, that
told
next
you, equity crowdfunding, Red CF, Regulation A+, Start Engine. I like details. I don't like to guess. I like to have real concrete facts.
Hey man, fill out my panelist thing, and because I do want to talk about that, because I'm actually going to research that. You gave me an idea about a show, because I do want to talk about the economics of the African American community, and
because everything we just talked about
solutions
that applies to Black America, right? You can raise money in Atlanta and then through the capital markets put that money in a small town in Louisiana. And then what you do is you advertise it, you make it look cool, and people want to go there just to visit as tourists and see, oh, it's the new Black Wall Street, the Creole Black Wall Street or whatever.
Well, like Green Vegan says, she has the San Francisco salary.
Yeah.
But she also has the San Francisco mentality. So that's another thing.
Is she a San Francisco treat? She looks like one.
Oh, God.
Let me get off.
Oh, God. he dropped. Y'all crazy. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, let's keep it going, because I want to get. Yeah.
Becoming one.
Also, sorry. No, you go. You
Okay.
You go.
Yo, you guys. I read this thing once. Mine's quick. I read this thing once that said, "Are you lazy or are you depressed?"
Talk
And
about
that's
it. Talk about it.
So when you were talking about the wages and how it's low, and like no like incentives to get up and do what you have to do, or knowing that no matter how many times I wake up and I grind, life's still gonna be crap. So I think that's.
And a country like this that doesn't recognize depression, it's just like, no,
they recognize it. They just don't care.
Yeah.
They genuinely don't care.
They really don't, because it's like, oh, you're feeling bad today, like, no, just go and work, you'll feel better.
Yeah, I also feel like for a country like Uganda, where the biggest population is youth, and this is like a whole different generation, the way we work, is not like the way our parents or grandparents used to work. And then we are trying to adapt to working online and all that. So to some people, it's lazy. Like, you work online at home, that's being lazy. But also that's also creating lazy youth, to be honest, because then we want to make quick money, in ways that we don't want to do a lot of work, but we want to make like the money, be rich, live that gram life, or exactly. Yeah.
First of all, I want to say salute to another Black Pride member, Red Lipstick Vibes. Hello, Miss Ty. Wait. I have. Oh, that was the wrong button. But yeah, salute to Red Lipstick Vibes, and just hear me out. Yes, he's over here. So, anyways, yeah, but she spoke to something that's real. Is that the global economic system has been changing, and for what a lot of people consider lazy, may not be lazy in regards to skill-based talents that can be tapped into. I'm actually looking forward, hopefully in my lifetime, to see how this kind of plays out. Working from home, globalization of internet access, a lot of these things I would like to see how a lot of the situations can work out. So hold on. Stop hating eBlack. I love the idea of creating a new Black Wall Street. Yeah, sure. It's a joke, fam. No disrespect to you. Okay, now y'all starting to troll me. Okay, let's keep it going.
Yeah, so some people, there was a time where I had my friend complaining, like, these youths are so lazy. Someone cannot even write an application letter, yet they have access to smartphones and the internet. Like, just go Google how to write, and like, they don't know how to apply for jobs. And it's true. Like, even the new system they created of getting passports, which is online. There are many people who don't know how to do this, but they have smartphones. Yeah. So, and also we have so many issues going on in the country, politics, unemployment, other things as well. So some are genuinely lazy, it's so many excuses, but also the entrepreneurs in this country are also creating that problem of lazy youth. So I think that's the whole issue.
It's true. It's like I have this conversation with my dad when I go back home. And he always says to me, "Oh, you have it easy, you have this, you have that." And I'm like, "Dad, break it down. When you bought this house, right? It was £25,000. Your house is now worth £400,000. If I wanted to buy this house off you, like mortgage-wise, I would need 10% of it. So what's that? 40,000? Like, and the average wage in the UK is 38,000. Right? Around, yeah, per year.
Yeah.
I can't afford that.
Yeah.
So, times are different. Like my grandmother's house, it was in a very affluent area called Kensal Green. It was Kensal Rise. My dad was the only one working at the time, so he had to get the mortgage out for my grandparents. The house was £5,000. Now that same house is £800,000.
You guys still have it?
No, my grandparents flew back in the 90s. They sold it for about 100,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but my parents still got theirs. Well, they've paid off their mortgage.
Okay,
so they're good. But yeah, so times have changed. So like the conversation, like I was saying earlier about conversations. Sometimes conversations between kids and their parents and the way we have to navigate our life as opposed to yours.
It's much harder now.
Much harder.
Yeah,
much
it's
harder.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that when we talk about the word lazy, it's not lazy. Is there are genuine generational stumbling blocks that prevent one generation from achieving things. You know, people are graduating later in college in age. You know, people are foregoing going to college so they can first survive just to get their first apartment. You know, it the landscape of the workforce and education and everything, you know, people are even getting married later. So laziness is almost a harsh word to describe a lot of what's going on the ground. And there are real systematic issues in which why certain people who may come in with new energy may feel as if the other people are lazy because they may be working off an older system. You know, some people like you go back to Uganda or you go back to a developing country and you say, oh, why you guys have smartphones, you guys have all these things that you guys have access to, but they are operating basically off the older system. The newer system has more opportunity and more fluidity in it. And then the same goes with us. These people are coming over here and they're using the access while we are still operating over an older system, and they're now injecting new life into a newer system. So it is absolutely right. And when it comes to home ownership, being able to save, you know, newer people are now seeing that home ownership may not be for them. So anyway, let's go.
Because
I'm trying to go through this video because I don't want to take too long. This is why I don't do reaction videos, because it takes too long. But I'm actually genuinely interested in this conversation. So hit the like button.
in the 80s and 90s, again, inflation in comparisons to the times in which people were earning money. Like my mom had bought a house in LA in the 80s for like $60,000. Wow. I mean, that was in South Central, but still.
Yeah.
So now, and then you can retire. I have accepted, put up a status on WhatsApp. We're all going to work until we die. That's just, you're going to work. Yeah, that's how it is. I have medical school loans of like $300,000 that I need to clear. You know, my mom just bought a house, so I don't foresee myself, and even though I earn, you know, very well, I don't see myself with this business and everything else. Like I'll be working until I die. Whereas there was retirements and pensions and things like that, and things were, don't get me wrong, like they didn't have as much technology, but you know, hey, there was some good decades. The 80s and the 90s, those were good years. Not as much competition, but now there are more opportunities for people who are entrepreneurs and you want to get out and work. Yeah, that's out there. But everybody who doesn't want to work, let's say, like you can work 40 hours a week and retire off that and have a family and you will be okay. Yeah. You can't do that anymore. Now, everybody's not going to be crazy and psychopathic like me and work every day of the year and, you know, try to get every opportunity you can. Some people coming from other countries, you know, think about it. You know, they have their mom, extended family in the village, people like that. Yeah, when you get to America, you have to make it. You can't come back and say, I didn't make it.
Yeah.
So when you're in America, you don't feel in your soccer in OBO. But I'm gonna say like this: when I come here, I have to make it here. Like it's either do well here or go back in the body bag. Those are the only options for me. I'm not. I came here for what I wanted to get and what I'm gonna do. And if I don't do that, I'll go back in a body bag. And that's how mostly everybody who comes to America has that mentality, because you have to have that mentality to do well. Because in America, a lot of people are smart in America. Good education, they work like crazy hours. You have to rise up to that level to compete. And you got some very bright kids in America, like super. So if you don't have that energy, you can't win. And in comparisons to the time of when you were coming up, that you know, your parents coming up, people were so smart. But now are smart.
Yeah.
They work.
Definitely works.
I'm sorry. I noticed that I was borging out. So
$1,000.
we're gonna keep going.
The first house my mom bought in Sacramento was in the 90s, was $60,000. If I want to buy a house in a similar neighborhood, that's what I'm looking at. And you know, what do you need to earn to qualify for $800,000 house or $1 million house?
The rate of inflation needs to be looked at. It's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
But yeah, guys, what do you think would be the solution?
Conversations. Honest, open conversation.
If you got to this part of the video, please answer this question. What do you think the solution can be? Because I see that, I don't know, it looks like there are about 6 minutes to go. I think that's a good stopping point. So I want everybody to kind of leave their own opinion right now, if they can, about what are the solutions. And I'm hoping that, you know, the one thing that I try to tell people is that this my channel, I want to have great conversations. I want to have great aspects of diversity, and we may not always come to a solution, but at least sometimes a solution can be in the conversation. So if you got to this point of the video, leave a comment about your opinion. Also, please check out my membership page. I actually have something really great planned for Sunday at the Toxic Avengers. Please join the membership. Leave the like button. Do all the stuff that you're supposed to do. But this was the Black Afternoon Conversation. Once again, I really appreciate everybody for showing up. And if you're able to, share on your community tab. But not only that, leave a like and comment. Those are the best because we can get the dialogue going. So buy land was already a solution. That is a great idea. But as the conversation went, this is actually getting harder and harder. So, you know, pause, you know. But anyway. I gotta get away from y'all New York cats, man. But salute to everybody in here. I really hope you guys enjoyed the show. Salute to O'Shea Duke Jackson, and salute to his crew out here. And at the, I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly, Kinganda channel. Very intelligent conversation. But anyway. Oh, now y'all are gonna show up at the very end. Salute to Free the Garden. But salute to everybody. This is the Black Afternoon Conversation. Catch us out on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. This episode, I don't know how long it's going to take to get there, but it will get there probably sooner or later. So salute to everybody. Let's get out of here.
I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. Relax your mind and let it unwind. No time for fights. Just open your eyes to see the light. Don't hesitate now. There's too much in front of you to take a hit now. Prepare for the worst, but prepare for the best. Cause only your mind holds the curse that you partner with it. I ain't tryna stop you from the love that guides you. I just wanna be the one to try you, mold you, make sure that you're on a good road. Little did you know, I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 fly. I can get fly, 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 and the flow that I live by. Just realize what it is and pass the lie. So don't be shy to get high. God is green for the goodbye. Don't hold back on this new fly.